The Charmeleon copycat Reo Mikage versus the magician Alexis Ness. Two players who entered football as strikers are now being world-class midfielders for Seishiro Nagi and Michel Kaiser. Today we are going to see which one of these two Ikaruses is the better player. I want to give a spoiler warning that if you're not caught up to the latest chapter of Bluelock, you may be hit with some spoilers, so please be warned. One last thing, if you enjoy the Bluelock content I put out, I suggest hitting the like button to help with the algorithm. Share the video so it gets more clicks, and subscribe so I can get 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Now let's get back to the video, shall we? The video structure will contain talking about the physical stats, and then the abilities of the players. Then we will get into a 5-point system of offense, mainly who is the bigger threat in an attacking role, midfield, who does their role as a midfielder better, defense, that's self-explanatory, and 1v1, and finally 11v11, who is better in those impacts. Reo Mikage, physical stats, strength. His raw power has grown immensely in the Neo Icarus League, being able to handle Bastard Munchen's players with ease in a contest of strength. Some of the abilities he has copied, such as IQ Snake Defense and Nio's physical press, requires a lot of physical talent to accomplish. In terms of the Bluelock verse, I would put him in the top 10. Jumping ability. It's pretty damn impressive if you can copy IQ's jump even at 99%. It means Reo's jumping ability is definitely top 10 in the Bluelock verse as well. And fun fact, Reo and Shido are both the same height at 185 centimeters, so he better be a good jumper with that height and strength. Endurance. This is very hard to tell as we have not seen Reo play a full 90-minute game except for the first selection, but those were against fodder people except for the final match. Considering he didn't take long to acquire Metavision though, after Isagi and with Chris Prince training, it must be very high since he never struggled with the physical strain of Metavision like Isagi and was able to perform at peak level throughout the whole game in the Manshine vs Bastard Munchen game. And except for the Team Z game where he low-key struggled in the final minutes of the game, he dominated the first 4 games without having any stress throughout those 90 minutes. Speed. In the NEL stat book, it is reviewed to be an 81, which is okay, it's still an A, but in a team that boasts speed and strength, I expected it to be an 85. Guess you can't have it all. Wait, this is real. You can have it all, so just give him some time. His best speed feats have to be tracking down Isagi in chapter 174 and dribbling with such speed in chapter 174, 188, and 189 as well. To sum up Reo's physical stats, his all-rounder skill allows him to be an insane physical monster with great strength, jumping ability, and endurance, with the weakest trait being mentioned above being his speed, which is still good as it's an A. Now to his ability. First ability, dexterity. Despite not being involved in soccer from a very young age, Reo is very skilled at all aspects of the sport. He has excellent passing, shooting, dribbling, and ball control capabilities among other skills. He also has high physical capabilities with good stamina and speed. He is a well-rounded, excellent player, being considered a jack of all trades. It has been stated that if most people in Bluelock have low skills in some of their stats and extremely high skill levels in other areas, then Reo has nearly perfect stats across the board, making him able to play most positions in soccer. Second ability, the Charmeleon. Using his all-rounder skills, excellent soccer abilities and sense, and his 99 out of 100 stats across all various skills, Reo is able to emulate the abilities that other players have demonstrated. Reo uses his nearly perfect skills to be able to understand how others who are specialized in certain areas are able to produce certain abilities. Using this understanding, he is able to recreate these abilities on his own. The only downside of this ability is that Reo can only copy skills and abilities that are within his physical capability, and not natural physical talent, such as Ryusei Shido's extreme physical moves or Hyoma Chiguri's insane speeds. The abilities he copies, however, are weaker than the original because his skills are only able to reach 99% of the maximum power and cannot match up to the originals when compared. There are 3 variants of this, being the Charmeleon Playmaker. Primarily copying Sai's skill set, Reo can break through the midfield and defense in order to help set up plays for Nagi to score goals. He could also copy other playmakers such as Charles to accomplish these results, but since Sai is the best playmaker he has seen, well, except for Pablo, Reo is more comfortable leaning into his playmaking attributes since in the last match he played, the Itoshi brothers were the most dominant on-the-ball players on the field, so why not copy Sai's bag? Charmeleon defense. To stop Shido, Ego places Reo in the defense position to stop him in the Bluelock vs U20 match, telling him he needs to observe all the U20 defenders being Olivier IQ, Kazuma Neo, Miroku Darai, and Tepeneru, so that he can copy their movements and use their powers to stop Ryusei Shido for good. During the match, Reo also used the trapping ability of Nagi to save the ball from a second shot by the U20 players. Neo Charmeleon Strike Mode. Taking his Charmeleon style one step further, Reo uses his nearly perfect skills to copy high-level plays that would allow Reo to move as a striker to score his own goals. He flawlessly steals the ball, breaks through the defense of Bastard Munchen, and almost scores a goal using the new style of his in the Neo Igris League in the first minutes of the game. Before we get into his last ability, let's look at all the player skill sets he has copied using the Charmeleon copycat. Long Pass copied from Meguru Bachira in Chapter 189, I'm presuming. Gyro Shot copied from Kenyu Yukimiya in Chapter 106. Snake Defense copied from Olivier Aiku in 129. Physical Pressure copied from Kazuma Neo in Chapter 130. Trap Shot Pass copied from Seishiro Nagi in Chapter 135. Cross Elastical Nutmeg copied from Saitoshi in Chapter 174. Trivetta Shot copied from Winitoshi in Chapter 174 as well. Oppressive Pass copied from Winitoshi once again in Chapter 174. Hyperspeed Scissors copied from Saitoshi in Chapter 189. Law Pass copied from Saitoshi in Chapter 189 as well, I'm assuming. I don't know what panel this is referring to though. And Direct Shot Pass copied from Yoriichi Isaki in Chapter 198 when he was faking out Gagamal to set up Nagi for a goal. Now, to enter his last ability, being Metavision, a term used to describe a player's evolved vision that gives them an omnipotent perspective of the field, using his eyes to constantly take in information from his central and peripheral vision. Reo constantly collects data on every player, every play they make, and their positions on the field. Reo uses it subconsciously, the first instance being during the Bastard Munchen versus Manshine match where we actually see the eyes come to fruition. Now let's look at his opponent, Alexis Ness. Strength. His first feat comes from Chapter 156 as they go through the incline dash in the Bastard Munchen training, as you need lots of strength in your legs to run a pretty steep incline line. And with Ness coming in second in the first training, it shows that this was a breeze for him. He also used the same amount of force that Sai used to knock Isagi off balance in the Ubris game. He was able to use a shield block on Lorenzo so he can steal the ball from him with those giraffe limbs. It really goes to show that Ness knows how to use his strength properly. His best feat comes from Chapter 156 though, because we haven't really seen him get in physical meathead clashes, so it's hard to say, but the way he uses his strength is pretty proper as shown against Isagi and Lorenzo. Jumping ability. I reread the first 3 Bastard Munchen matches of the NEL and I did not see one good jumping feat. So we're gonna have to go to Chapter 157 with Ness placing second again. I'd say he's a pretty good jumper because there was a jumping exercise throughout that train. So I'm just gonna give him that as his only feat. Endurance. His endurance to Glaze Kaiser is top tier. He most likely is spending his time training with Kaiser behind the scenes all the time, really putting in a good workout in the bed, and most importantly, formulating plans to stop Isagi. Okay. All jokes aside, I believe it's pretty good, even though we have not seen him play a full 90-minute match. But just like Reo, without any mental problems, he can perform efficiently without any complaints of tiredness. Speed. His speed rating is a 76, which is okay, I guess. He is able to dribble really fast, especially with his flexible dribbling, which I will get into later. Allows him to dribble more faster and freely while fooling the opponents. He also snuck up behind Rin in Chapter 272 to get the ball away from him. For Ness, he didn't really get to show off his physical departments, with his best feats coming from Chapter 157 being that he came second in the training, Chapter 162 where he steamrolled through the FC Barca defense, and locking hands with Lorenzo. Now to his abilities. Flexible dribbling. Ness's dribbling style is a mix of his hyper-rational technique and flexible ankles. He uses his flexibility to easily feint the ball or switch directions away from his opponent in order to perform smooth and efficient plays with no wasted movements. Through the use of his dribbling, Ness is able to easily break past long defenders while maintaining a perfect distance for a pass when needed. Another benefit to his flexible ankles is that he is easily able to snatch balls out of the air. Key passing. Along with his dribbling, Ness is also a very efficient passer. As the key passer for his team, his passes are always accurate and efficient, only serving to help the forward score. Through his unique passes, he allows Kaiser to get into the easiest position to score the Kaiser impact. Skyborn Daisy Cutter. A super clean pass between 2 defenders that hugs the ground while slowly rising up in the air. The pass is so perfect that it doesn't even affect the speed of the player it meant to receive. Illusion Cross. A pass that is supported by the numerous possible receivers all running around in what appears to be a very ineffective and random style. But in actuality, they are simply overlapping several passing courses that allows Ness to select the best passing course that would lead to the most beneficial result. His usual main target being Kaiser, who remains in the blind spot of several players waiting to receive the pass the moment he steps outside of them. Shoot flick. Ness uses his body to shoot the ball from a defender and uses his flexible ankles to keep the ball just outside of the defender's stealing range. He then chips the ball with the back of his heel, sends it flying to Kaiser so he can perform the Kaiser impact. This was done against Lorenzo, but Aryu came in the way. Now to the point system. First with offense. The point varies on the context that I list, whether it be off of scoring goals or just being a offensive threat. Let's look at Reo. With his Neo Chameleon striker mode, he can be an attacking threat as he pulled off Rin's Trivela shot and he's pulled off Yukimiya's gyro shot in the past. However, thanks to Nagi, he has shifted from that to his assisting role, making him less dangerous as of our current knowledge, as we don't know if he is planning on getting a goal in the Barca match or just planning on getting at least 2 assists. For Ness, he still showed in Barca that he still has goal scoring abilities, as the goalkeeper more demanded Ness' short course be shut out, showing that Ness could have scored from outside the box easily if he wanted to. But due to him serving Kaiser, his attack presence has also faded, as he would never have taken that shot because he wants to assist Kaiser. Now that Kaiser has left him, he has no choice but to return to 0 or get extinct. They are in similar situations where they both have to evolve or it's endgame for them. I'm going to use my get out of jail card and use their actual stat books from the NEL stat book, with Rails being an 86 in offense and Ness being a 94, so I'm going to give this point to Ness. Midfield. Now both of these players have dribbling and playmaking techniques that help them drill through the midfield and defenders, with a final decisive pass to their respective striker. For Reo, he has Sai and Rin's dribbling and passing techniques. For Ness, it's his flexible dribbling and illusionary crosses. For Reo and Ness, they both haven't been effective since the Bayern München vs Manchester City game, where they both each bagged an assist. The one issue is we don't get to see Reo's stat book updated over time, but I'm assuming it didn't improve much because of the next 2 games. I'm not going to talk about that right now. So I'm going to say Ness NEL playing making stats of dribbling and passing grew surpass Reo's own, as it currently is right now. They both have similar effects to their team. However, if we look at history, it shows Reo can cooperate with others when Nagi is not around. Ness has only assisted one other player than Kaiser, being Noah because he's the master striker, showing that in the NEL he can work with others. Meanwhile, Reo has only made players in the NEL for Nagi, and Ness again him and Ness again are in similar situations, but thanks to the NEL stat book, Ness gets this point, making it 2-0. Defense. Ness's best defensive feat was stealing the ball from Rin from behind. Meanwhile, we have Reo ripping the ball from Yukimiya in a 1v1, with Yukimiya being the 1v1 emperor, using his meta vision to stop it. He also has his copy ability to copy IQ and Neo's abilities if need be. This is an easy one to give to Reo. Even the NEL stat book supports me giving this point to Reo to make the score 2-1 still in Ness's favor. 1v1. This is one of the matches where we actually got to see in the manga. The two duked out in chapter 174, where Reo copies Sai's cross elastical nutmeg to blow by Ness. However, we never get to see Ness win it back with Reo, with Ness on offense and Reo on defense. We never got to see that, but I have a good idea on how it would go. So if Reo could stop Yukimiya, then he could definitely stop Ness. But that flexible dribbling with those ankle shifts may give Reo some trouble. But with Reo having a better physique, it's safe to say that Reo would dominate a 1v1 with Ness, equalizing this matchup 2-2. 11v11. Now this is interesting, but the answer is simple. It's Reo. He's taking this one easily, because while in an attacking role, Ness might cook and would definitely do so in the midfield role with a good striker. However, his opponent Reo would eat him alive, as he is the king of all trades all-rounder. So he definitely has Ness beat in the defensive situation. They are close to each other in offense and midfield, but with his copycat ability, he could easily surpass Ness in those areas too. So Reo would get the win 3-2 easily. This could have gone even worse for Ness if I wanted to. I could have made this 4-1 or 5-0 depending how much power I wanted to put into Reo with his copy abilities, but I wanted to have some mercy on Ness, as the manga has not been doing so right now. So yeah, I had fun with this. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video, any versus battles you guys would like to see. Stay blessed. Suki out.